Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivrajikachaya Stotara Shatashishi Mahadisvai Gracia Desi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, Text number 1. Titled The Activities of the Prachetas. So text number 1. Vidura uvacha yetvaya bihita brahman sutaha prachina barhishad te rudra gitena harim Siddhimapu Pratoshyakam Vidura Uvacha Yetvaya Bihita Brahman Sutaha Prachina Barhishaha Te Rudra Gitena Harim Siddhimapu Pratoshyakam Vidura Uvacha Yetvaya Bihita Brahman Sutaha Prachina Barhishaha Te Rudra Gitena Harim Siddhimapu Pratoshyakam Vidura Uvacha Rudra-gitena harim Siddhimapu Pratoshyakam Vidura Uvacha Yetvaya Bihita Brahman Rudra-gitena harim Siddhimapu Pratoshyakam Vidura Uvacha Ladies, Martin. Vidura Uvacha So, Shabdart, Vidura Uvacha, Vidura said, Yea, those who, Tvaya, by you, Abhihitaha, were spoken about, Brahman, O Brahmana, Sutaha, sons, Prachinabarhishaha, of King Prachinabarhi, Te, all of them, Rudragitena, by the song composed by Lord Shiva, Harim, the Lord, Siddhim, success, Apuhu, achieved, Pratoshya, having satisfied, Kam, what? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O Brahmana, you formerly spoke about the sons of Prachinabarhi and informed me that they satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting a song composed by Lord Shiva. What did they achieve in this way? Purport. In the beginning, Maitreya Rishi narrated the activities of the sons of Prachinabarhi. These sons went beside a great lake, which is like an ocean, and fortunately, finding Lord Shiva, they learned how to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting the songs composed by Lord Shiva. Now their father's attachment for fruitive activities was disapproved by Narada, who therefore kindly instructed Prachinabarhi by telling him the allegorical story of Puranjana. Now Vidura again wanted to hear about Prachinabarhi's sons, and he was especially inquisitive to know what they achieved by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here the words siddhim apuhu, or achieved perfection, are very important. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Out of many, many millions of people, one may be interested in learning how to attain success in spiritual matters. The supreme success is mentioned also in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 15. Mam upetya puranarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. And what is that highest perfection? That is also explained in that verse. The highest perfection is to return home back to Godhead, so that one will not have to return to this material world and transmigrate from one body to another in the dream of material existence. By the grace of Lord Shiva, the Prachetas actually attained perfection and returned home back to Godhead after enjoying material facilities to the highest extent. Maitreya will now narrate that to Vidura. Om Agirantamanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhashtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Garamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Stra Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Datam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vachakandatam Stra Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasaya Buddhaya Shmari Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasaya Buddhaya Shmari Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namane Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripasnimevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripasnimevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamamani Priya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shmari Bhakti Vikasha Swaminiti Namane Hare Krishna. So this is a very nice verse, because in this verse we're hearing about the pure devotees of the Lord and how they became qualified to become great devotees of the Lord. So, significant in this, Prabhupada, in this purport, he is, first, he notes that Maitreya Rishi, he first of all narrated the activities of the sons of the Prachinabarhi. So, the sons of Prachinabarhi, they went to, on the order of their father, they went to a great lake. And there, they performed many severe austerities, actually in the lake. And they're all brothers, and so they're all very, had this brotherly affection for each other and helping each other become Krishna conscious. So that kind of spirit is, we immediately see in places like, say, the Brahmacharya ashram, where, we're all brothers together, and we're helping each other in different services. And so you can very much see that ISKCON is following in the footsteps of these great devotees by fostering this kind of atmosphere in which devotees can make nice spiritual advancement. So It's also mentioned here that the sons of Prachinibari, they somehow or other by good fortune, they encountered Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, of course, is one of the greatest devotees of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. And so it is not possible actually to get out of the clutches of the material energy unless one is favored by the devotees of the Lord. So, in this case, the sons of Prachinibari, they were sent by their father, Maharaj Prachinibarashat, to perform austerities. Now, Maharaj Prachinibarashat himself was engaged in fruitive activities, so naturally he felt, that his sons should also be engaged in fruitive activities, and that so he sent them to perform austerities. So the sons, the Prachetas, were on their way to becoming nice materialists, actually. But by good fortune, they met Lord Shiva. So we also see later on that Maharaj Daksha, who's actually related to who's actually a son of the Prachetas, he, we'll find this out later in the Bhagavatam, we'll find this out. He also had sons that he sent in the same way to go perform austerities. Those were the Haryashvas and the Shavalashvas. And they performed many austerities also and became very pure. And then, guess who comes along? Narada Muni comes along. And he preaches to them. He gives them Krishna consciousness. And what they do, they leave home. So, one thing we see in this verse is that, two things, is that we have the performance of karma, and then we have the performance of bhakti. So, as devotees, we typically want to avoid performing fruitive activities. Because performance of fruitive activities, we want to enjoy the karma fall, and as long as we want to enjoy the karma fall, the fruit of our activities, we have to come back again in this material world. But the performance of fruitive activities nonetheless, or at least some fruitive activities, is nonetheless purifying. So we see that because, in the case of the Haryashvas and Shavalashvas, that because they were performing the pious activities, austerities, although it was for the sake of fruitive activity, for getting sense gratification, because they were following prescribed duties, because they became purified, and then when Narada came, then when Narada spoke, they could actually understand what he was saying. He was saying, actually, you're not following the order of your father. Actually, this is what you really need to follow. This is what you need to do. Then, because the Haryashvas were purified by the performance of their austerities, they could immediately understand Narada's purport, and they left home and gave up fruitive activity. Went to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this is the value, although as devotees we want to give up these things, this is the value of the karma, is that it can at least purify people and give some people some ability to understand the message of the Personality of Godhead when they're encountered. So, the Prachetas, this is very wonderful. So by the mercy of Lord Shiva, they actually became great devotees of the Lord. So it is said, Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Gu Krishna Kripaya Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. That this living entity, that the jiva is wandering in this universe. So Brahmanda Brahmate. So this this Brahmite, it's like Brahmara. So this is Brahma. It means to kind of like wander around. It's kind of like a bumblebee or something. It's like, just going here and there and everywhere like this. And you can see that the living entities are doing just that. Just consider, that when on coming to the temple or going to and from my home here, there are many dogs along the way. And some of these dogs don't care about you. Some of these dogs like you. Many of the dogs don't like you. But if you look into those dogs' eyes, you can really see that that dog at one time was a person. And then you have to wonder, what did that dog do in a previous life as a human being to get that body of a dog? And we know, according to the Shastras and the Acharyas, that there are different things that what are the different things that you can do to become a dog. So it's described in Manusmriti, Guru Ninda. If you perform Guru Ninda, then you take birth as a dog. So Ninda means finding faults where there are no faults. So that's one way. Another way is just to think of a dog. So at the time of death, you think of a dog, you become a dog. Isn't it? Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajad yanti kalevaram tam tam evaiti kantiya saratad bhavabhavitaha. That whatever you think of at the time of death, you become that. So therefore, Maharaj Bharat, although he was himself a Mahabhagavat, because of a fault in his devotional service and not consulting with his spiritual master on what to do with his deer, this baby deer, he forgot, he neglected his devotional service, he became attached to a deer, and then in his next life he had to take birth as a deer. So these are the different ways that one can become something other than a human being. So people today are unfortunate in that they're being encouraged more and more to love dog. So Prabhupada, he used to criticize this, that people should, they're not loving God, but they're loving dog. So he'd say this. And in a place like America where people love their dogs, they say that dog is man's best friend. That's not true. According to Shastra, according to Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is everyone's best friend. So we have competition. We are competing not with the karmis, but with the vikarmis, those who are interested in sinful activity. Just to keep a dog, this is not a good thing. Of course, sometimes we keep dogs for a special purpose. Maybe to guard something. Just the other day I was on the subway or the metro, and they had a group of 3-4 heavily armed security guards with a dog, German Shepherd dog. That's a special dog. That's a dog that's meant for attacking people. So sometimes a dog is necessary for some things, or sometimes if someone gets lost, then you need another special dog that's has a very keen sense of smell, and they can find where that person's gone just by the smell. So sometimes, even dogs can be engaged in Krishna service, or at least some necessary function for society. And we even see Lord Chaitanya, by his mercy, actually by the mercy of Shivananda Sena, a dog got delivered by the mercy of the devotee and Krishna. So then we're back to the mercy of the devotees. So without the mercy of the Guru, one cannot attain Krishna. So why is that? If you consider, why have people come to this world? People have come to this world to forget Krishna. So coming to this world is something like a trap, an animal trap. Like sometimes you have an animal trap that, it's like a rat goes into the trap, then the door closes, then the rat can't get out. So this is our condition. So we come to the world because we're part and parcel of Krishna. That we're servant of Krishna. This is our constitutional position. Jivera Swarupahai Nityara Krishna Das. But we prayed, my dear Krishna, I want to forget you because I want to enjoy like you. So okay, now you've forgotten Krishna. So now you've forgotten Krishna. Now, in your forgetfulness, how are you going to remember Krishna? Because you prayed to forget Krishna. So that's what you wanted. So therefore, the mercy of the devotee is required. So devotee, Krishna, he's not going to interfere with our independence. He says, okay, I've given you independence, I cannot interfere with that. But the devotee of Krishna also has independence, and he uses his independence as a devotee of Krishna. I want to deliver these fallen souls because this is the only way they can be truly happy. Therefore, it is said that the guru or the devotee is even more merciful than Krishna himself by the mercy of Krishna. So, the Prachetas, by meeting Lord Shiva, received instructions from him how to worship the personality of Godhead. And so, being very obedient and being very good disciples, they began to worship Lord Shiva according to they began to worship Lord Vishnu according to Lord Shiva's instructions. So, here, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the words siddhim apuhu, or achieved perfection, are very important. So, so Prabhupada explains in this connection that the devotee, one who achieves perfection, is very rare. It says, Manusyanam sahasrishu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Out of many, many millions of people, one may be interested in learning how to attain success in spiritual matters. So, we look at all the devotees here, and if we count the devotees, there may be, how many? 50, how many would you say are here? 50, 100 devotees sitting in class right now? Somewhere between 50 and 100 devotees sitting in class. So now, out of many millions of people, one may achieve perfection. So perfection is actually Shravanam Kirtana, to be engaged in Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandyam Sakyam Dasyam Atmanivedanam. So so out of many millions of people, we have this group of people that are here and in some other places that are actually engaging in the perfection of life. So so it's not surprising. Sometimes we think we need many more people here, and we should think like that. We need many more people here. But at the same time, what we're seeing here before our eyes is what Krishna's predicted. How many millions of people are in Delhi? So, kitne crore Delhi mein hai? 2.5 crore. 2.5, I'm hearing 1.5 to 1.5. 1.5. So that's 15 million. That's a lot of people. So out of 15 million people, if we had only maybe 15 people here in class, we'd still be doing pretty good according to Krishna's, estimation. Really. So we're doing phenomenal. But we want to do even better than that. And therefore we have an ambitious program for book distribution. I was just in Gujarat last couple of weeks. So I was at the Baroda Rath Yatra, and also there's a Rath Yatra in Jamnagar. Jamnagar is in Saurashtra area, and it's about 120 kilometers from Dwarka. So I was at the Rath Yatra there too. And so one of the senior devotees there, he was just commenting about, just kind of like a life in ISKCON. And he was saying that by different gurus, you can appreciate there's kind of different qualities. So he was saying about Gopal Krishna Maharaj that Gopal Krishna Maharaj's disciples because they're into book distribution. So just wanted to pass that along to you all. So you're doing a wonderful job. Now you have to do even better. You have to surpass it every year. You have a reputation to maintain. Just like the great kings, because they had this great legacy, they would rather die in preserving that legacy than in taking it up. So the Rath Yatra, I wanted to mention the Rath Yatra because I had a very personal experience I wanted to share. That the Rath Yatra is very special because in this, the devotees are trying to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. So the significance of the Rath Yatra is that this love for Krishna, to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan, is on a platform actually above the rules and regulations of sadhana bhakti. So if you consider it, if you follow the rules and regulations of sadhana bhakti, there's really nothing. If you're just being a good devotee is not enough. There has to be love there. You may chant your rounds, you may chant your Hare Krishna, you may be following the 4 regulative principles very nicely, read an hour a day or so and forth. But when it comes time for the prayas, for this effort for Krishna, I was seeing that many otherwise very nice devotees, they couldn't even finish the Rath Yatra. And at the same time, we can see that some devotees that are generally not inclined even to finish the Rath Yatra, and I have to confess myself, when I go to Rath Yatra, it's a bit of I have to really kind of make an effort to do it. It's a struggle to do it. So there was one very senior devotee there. He said that, okay, you have to chant. So I had to chant. And I'm not so good at kirtan or anything like that, but I had to chant. I had to lead kirtan. And so, just to please him and to please the Lord, I just, he's just kind of like, by his mercy, I was able to lead, somewhat of a nice kirtan. I mean, usually I don't jump around so much because my health isn't always so good. But, in that instance, by his mercy. So, that was a very personal experience I had. And so here, again, it cannot be understated that by the mercy of devotees like Lord Shiva, so the prachetas, they're performing austerities to be engaged in fruitive activities. But by the mercy of Lord Shiva and meeting Lord Shiva, yes, we're going to worship Lord Vishnu, get the favor of Lord Vishnu. So, Srila Prabhupada here mentions, he said, the supreme success is mentioned also in Bhagavad Gita, Mamam petya purnarjanma, dukalayama shashvatam, apnuvanti mahatmanaha samsirim paramam gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Now, returning to this material world does not mean that the great souls leave. Of course, the great souls can leave, but what it means is that they no longer have any interest in this material world. That's an important difference. So, it's said that there's 5 kinds of liberations that Vaishnavas may accept. There's Salokya, which is living on the same planet of the Lord. There's what is it? Sarupya, having the same form of the Lord. Sarishti, I believe that's having the same opulence as the Lord. Samipya, they have been living on the same, close to the Lord. You're close to the Lord. That's 4. And there's actually a 5th one, which is called Suyujya. So, Suyujya Mukti. Vaishnavas actually don't accept Suyujya. That's merging into the Lord. So these 4 Vaishnav muktis, the pure devotee does not care for even those. Because all he wants to do is he wants to serve Krishna. He just, and this is also incidentally spoken by Lord Shiva. He says, Narayana parasarve nakutasthana bibyati Svarga pavarga narakesha pitulyata darshanaha. that the Lord, that the devotees of the Lord, because they're only interested in serving the Lord, it doesn't matter where they are, because they're only interested in the Lord's service. So, by getting the mercy of the devotees, one can attain that same mood. So it's just like, yeah, thank you. So it's just like when you put an iron rod in a fire. So by the association with the fire, the iron rod becomes like fire. Similarly, when one gets the association of the devotees, one also gets their qualities. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. So that can work both ways. By bad association, one can achieve the bad qualities of the bad association. And by association with saintly people, satsang, one can attain good qualities. So, satsang shouldn't mean just simply that we get together and have a good time chanting any old bhajan about any old devata or any old demigod. Satsang should mean associating with persons who are pure in their consciousness. So therefore, when we conduct satsangs, one can come together and chant Hare Krishna, and it's especially recommended that one should invite someone who's very pure, very advanced in devotional service to be present, and that will lift the quality of the satsang even beyond what it normally might be. So returning back to Godhead means, of course, we go to Krishna's planet, but when one realizes that everything belongs to Krishna, then there's no need even to go, anywhere else, because one has Krishna. So what higher perfection is that? So, by the grace of Lord Shiva, the Prachetas, they get the mercy of Lord Vishnu. And by Lord Vishnu's mercy, as we'll see, Lord Vishnu blessed them with millions of celestial years of enjoyment in this material world, after which that they would attain the material kingdom, not the material kingdom, but the spiritual kingdom, the Krishna's own abode. So, one may ask, why does Krishna, give these opulences sometimes? So, Krishna, this is the favor of Krishna. When Krishna gives such opulences, these opulences are non-perishable. People are not disturbed by them when Krishna gives them. They are to facilitate one's service to Krishna. So sometimes we see, like for example, Maharaj Chitraketu, when by the mercy of Angira Rishi and Narada Muni, he became a great devotee of Lord Sankarshan. That he was given a great airplane, and he could go all over the universe with all his wives and have kirtan. So we see that opulence, when it's given by the Lord, that the devotee knows what is the best use for it. So therefore it's imperishable. And therefore those opulences, they actually surpass those of the karmis. So we see, for example, that Prabhupada, so in his own life, in his own householder life, so he tried to start many businesses and so forth. And he even said, the astrologer said that I was supposed to be rich like a Birla. But actually, he became, because, well, he was already a devotee, but when he came to the West and he started the Krishna consciousness movement, he had such wealth that surpassed that of so many very wealthy people. Just imagine, so many temples, hundreds of temples, 108 temples within 11 years. He had many disciples, many sons and daughters who loved him. Just see, like in the families of very rich people, that they have so much money, but sometimes they have sons that hate them. Isn't it? I'm so wealthy, I want to go so much to my son, but my son hates me. Or they don't get along, or there's some problem in the family. Like that. So we can see practically that Srila Prabhupada, he had opulences that surpassed those of even the wealthiest men. So many disciples, so many followers. So much imperishable opulence. That's the thing, is imperishable opulence. It's the opulence that doesn't perish. That lasts. So what more to say about this verse? So well, we have about 10-15 minutes left, and I've said all I wanted to say for this, and I'd like to open it up for any questions. So are there any questions about any of this?
Haribol. See, mic.
Okay, well, you have a microphone here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, my question is how we can avoid this anger?
Okay, how to avoid anger. So I'll try to relate that to the verse here. So the anger, material anger, arises from unsatisfied lust. Lust comes from envy of Krishna. In fact, lust and envy of Krishna are interchangeable terms, as Srila Prabhupada explains, that you can use lust and envy interchangeably. So, the only way that anger can be controlled is if one becomes self-realized in Krishna consciousness. So one has to become a devotee of the Lord, because lust will come from either one of two sources. It'll either come from anger in the service of Krishna, or it will come from lust. There's no other way. So the prachetas, in controlling their senses, they perform many austerities. So part of performing austerities is tolerance. One has to tolerate so many inconveniences, so many people. So this tolerance, by restraining oneself, there's some purification involved in that. Okay? So oftentimes when we talk about anger control and anger management, in the modern day, the different psychological techniques are self-defeating, because the objective of mundane anger management is fruitive. And because mundane anger management is fruitive, mundane anger management actually increases lust. So, first answer is how not to control anger is not to engage in mundane anger management techniques. Some people think that the different psychological techniques are useful in controlling anger, but actually not. It's said sometimes like a rain cloud. Sometimes the sun creates a rain cloud, and then the rain cloud blocks the sun. So, that's an instance of a cause arising to dampen an effect arising to dampen a cause. But that's only temporary. Eventually the rain cloud will go away, and eventually it comes. So the mode of passion sometimes works like that. But it's still the mode of passion, and because it's the mode of passion, you really don't get relief from that kind of thing. True anger management means becoming niskinchana, actually abandoning fruitive activity. And this is only possible if one gains some sort of attraction for Krishna. In the beginning, it may be useful insofar as that, in terms of as a fruitive activity, as we saw in the instances of the sons of the Prachinabarhi and also the Prachetas, and also the Haryashvas and Savalashvas, that because it was punya. And again, this again is not mundane anger management, but because they're following it according to the instructions of the Vedas and the great rishis. They're not just performing tolerance and forbearance according to their speculation. They're doing it according to Vedas or Vedic literature. That was purifying for them. That kind of tolerance. So there are those three methods to consider. There's the methods of the Vikarmis, which is mundane psychology. We should avoid that at all costs because it encourages fruitive activity and actually encourages sinful activity. Then there's the different kinds of pious activities mentioned in the Vedas. The kind of activities that we should avoid out of those are the kama karyas. If you're performing an austerity to get a good son or good education or good money or good wealth, those should be avoided. The naimitaka karmas and the nitya karmas, such as marriage, and the duties that one has to perform, one's daily duties as a householder, for example, those are purifying and should not be given up. According to Krishna and the great acharyas, those are also purifying. And then finally, there's becoming direct Krishna consciousness. So by becoming directly a devotee, then one will be able to have the consciousness to utilize anger when it arises in the right way. Anger will always be there. So the relation of that to this verse is that the controlling anger, if you're doing it according to the directions of the Vedas, if it's in the Karma Kanda section, the fruitive activities, as long as it is the Naimittika and the Naimittika and the Nitya Karmas, then that can help, because at least it purifies you. And then the direct chanting of Hare Krishna, performing devotional service, that is the workhorse. That's the powerhouse that brings us to the transcendental platform. Microphone.
Hare Krishna. With the Prachetas, they prayed to Lord Shiva to appear, or Lord Shiva appeared by himself?
Yes. So you're just making a point. Lord Shiva, he can appear when he wants. So it's both things. They may appeal because they're great sons, they're pure, they have some eligibility, but Lord Shiva, he also appears by his own mercy too. So they're very fortunate.
Hari Bol. Thank you. Here is Rudra Gita. Rudra Gita, Bhagavatam has so many Gita. Gopi Gita, Uddhava Gita. Uddhava Gita is a Rudra Gita. So Rudra Gita is glorification of Lord Vishnu. Rudra Sampradaya is also a Vaishnava Sampradaya. But there are so many persons, they do not follow Rudra Sampradaya, they do not follow Lord Shiva, but they worship Shiva. So worshippers of Shiva are not followers of Shiva. Lord Shiva wants to make everybody Vaishnava, but some persons have their whim that they have to worship Lord Shiva. So in this, but Lord Shiva here, he saw these prachetas very pure-hearted, very innocent, pure-hearted. They do not have any kind of whim. Then Lord Shiva wants to make them Vaishnava. So when they were passing through a pond, some lake or pond, so there Lord Shiva appeared from the water and he instructed this Rudra Gita. So Lord Shiva also wants to make everybody devotee. He does not want to be worshipped. But some people have kamastha hridjnana. Because of their material desires, their knowledge is stolen. Prapadyantin devata. Therefore they take shelter of other demigods. So this is not the desire of Lord Shiva that they worship them. But when they worship Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva fulfills their material desires, but actually this is not their supreme benefit. Lord Shiva also knows that this is not the supreme benefit. So, but what can he do? Because they don't want to get pure knowledge.
They don't want. It's the perennial problem. Thank you, Prabhuji. And it shows you how dangerous material desires are. If you maintain material desires, you cannot see things as they are. So, Lord Shiva, as Prabhuji was noting, Lord Shiva's worshippers who don't follow Lord Shiva because of material desires, they have a desire to worship Shiva in a particular way for material benefit. But they cannot see things, they don't understand their own situation or properly. So material desire is a very dangerous thing.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji. I had a question that the point which is shared, the person who criticizes his own guru, he'll become dog in next life. So how is it that we see like dog is very faithful to his master?
They're different from what?
The dog he's very surrender and he's very faithful to his master. So how is it that maybe if you could elaborate, like the person who criticizes his guru or his master, he'll become dog in next life?
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? It organizes a lot of data. You had a guru and you found fault in him, well, now you can be a dog. You can be a guru, but there's always something. It's very interesting. It was like in Manusmriti, you'll find, was it for different, like for stealing? So if you steal grains, they say you become a rat. It's said in Manusmriti, you become a rat in your next life. Become a mouse. So you can steal, because mice steal grains. And if you steal gold or diamonds, you become a goldsmith in your next life. Interesting. So, but there are many different ways. But thinking of dog, probably a lot of people will just, they'll think of the dog and become a dog in their next life.
A devotee who is faithful to the spiritual master, he gets the mercy of Krishna. And then a dog who is faithful to his master, he gets dog meat, he gets meat to eat. So there's a different kind of faith.
And unless a dog, Yeah, unless a dog is very fortunate to get, someone like Shivananda Sena as a friend, as a master, then the outlook for the dog is pretty miserable. So, they get this bread, this bread, and the dogs in my neighborhood, apparently they're so picky they need buttered bread. But they're still dogs. And the life for them is miserable. Like there was this one puppy, very young little dog. I remember this dog that would come. It was always in the neighborhood. And then a little while later, I saw the dog was limping, bad leg. Car ran over it. So it only has 3 legs now, 3 useful legs. So, and then you see dogs, they're sniffing around in all sorts of dirty places and barking all night, and it's a miserable existence. It's a really miserable existence. And if you think about it here, we can see the dogs have a miserable existence. Now in America, where they take nice care of dogs, but they also kill a lot of dogs too. So if you're a stray dog in America, you can't even you're not even going to be alive for very long, because they'll find you, they'll catch you, and they'll kill you. They just cover it up better in America, but it's the same miserable place there, as it is anywhere else. Any other questions? It's better to say Hari Bol, otherwise it becomes horrible. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.